regarding voiceover equipment. But before we do that, I want to say that for those of you that have not built a booth or haven't even started purchasing anything, and you're just like at the beginning stages of wanting to dive into voiceover or audiobook production, which is the vast majority of my viewership, is people just getting started. The very basic things that you're going to need to do this is a decent computer. And when I say decent, I mean it could be an older computer. If you've had a computer in your home office, it would probably work just fine. I would think at least 8 gigs of RAM, from my experience, is probably the most important, only because you're going to be running some software on your computer that needs to have solid processing power, I think is what I'm trying to say. You also want to make sure that this computer is relatively quiet, because the noise factor is definitely going to be something that you want to address for voiceover, especially with audiobook production. If it is a noisy computer, you want to try to move it as far away from your recording space as possible. It's nice to have it in the same room with you, but believe me, you're going to be dealing with noise issues. I've tried it. Again, I've had 3 different computers, I think, throughout my tenure in here, and always had noise floor issues until I moved the noise making part, the tower, the laptop itself, whatever it is that I was working with, outside of the booth, and then was able to close the door. Those are really the only things computer-wise that you need to keep in mind. You will need a microphone. I do not recommend using a phone or a tablet to record with. Get a microphone, an external microphone. External meaning outside of your computer. Every computer has a built-in microphone. Don't use that. Use an external mic. Now, again, I'm not saying that you should go out and buy a Sennheiser 416. You could start out, a lot of the USB mics these days are pretty high quality. You could probably get a decent one, but if you can spring the couple extra bucks, and even secondhand, right? If you can find these things secondhand, why not? If you just want to give it a try. But having an XLR mic, meaning it's a microphone that does not plug directly into your computer like a USB. An XLR mic needs an interface, and then that interface plugs into your computer. That will start you out with the best sound. And the interfaces, some of them have really great sound quality that will enhance the sound of your voice and filter out a lot of noise. A lot of microphones will do that too. They'll have selections on them, or settings on them that'll filter out some of the noise for you. Headphones, I would say my personal preference is, of course, over the ear closed back, meaning that they don't allow any outside room noise to come in while you're listening back. They're closed. They're not perforated, with comfortable cushioned, what is that? Ear holes. They sit up against your head comfortably, because you will be wearing these a lot, right? I would invest in some decent ones. What else? And then your DAW. Choosing the DAW. There's 3 DAWs that I hear are used the most in voiceover and audiobook production. I use Adobe Audition. I've always recommended Adobe Audition. There is a subscription for it, though. You can have, I think both Adobe Audition and Reaper both have a trial period, I believe. Audacity is the third. That one has always been free to download and use for free. I believe there is a subscription with that too, if you wanted some other features and things, but the base version has always worked well for most people. So you've got Audacity, Adobe Audition, and Reaper. Those are the 3 DAWs, and DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. That is your recording software. Those are the 3 that are used most often. Now, when it comes down to plugins, for those of you wondering what that is, those are effects that you can purchase either as a standalone effect or in bundles from outside sources to download and then have it work within your DAW to further reduce mouth noise, to further enhance the sound of your voice, to address specific issues in your room or with your voice that perhaps your DAW does not have already built in within it natively. The plugin that I always recommend is the one that you can find in through Isotope, Izotope. That is the mouth declick. There are 3 different bundles of plugins you could purchase at Isotope. RX11 is what you're looking for when you get to Isotope. They have all kinds of audio repair suites, but you're looking for RX11. The 3 different bundles are Elements, Standard, and Advanced. The mouth declick, there's a declick also, but you're looking for mouth declick that gets rid of the mouth noises. That particular plugin's only found in the standard and in the advanced packages, of course. You can also find standalone plugins at Wave or waves.com. There's a ton of different plugins there for that could pretty much address anything that you needed it to. Reverb, noise reduction, some great EQs in there as well. But I do, as always, want to caution you with using effects. If you're watching YouTube videos of someone else saying, use this one, use this one, use this one, use this one, there's a good chance that you might not need one of those, or maybe you need something different or at a different setting. Again, remember, your voice, your space, your equipment is going to be vastly different from most everyone else's as far as the configuration, right? So you might not need what everybody else needs. You might need something different, or you might not need any at all. So always go light with using your effects sparingly. Use them sparingly, because the more effects you use, even though they're meant to enhance, they have a destructive quality. If you use too many of them or the wrong combinations of them or in the wrong order, they could do more damage than good with your voice. So if you have questions about which plugins that you may need or what combinations, what settings to use, and you don't want to try to figure it out on your own, I always recommend hiring an audio engineer, right? You've got Lenny B, you've got Uncle Roy, you've got Tim Tippett, whom I used. If you're in my platinum group, there's a lot of people in our group that have that ear and that technical know-how that could probably suggest a few things for you. Other than that, it's more like trial and error, right? Kind of learning your DAW and figuring out what you need or what you don't. But it does take time to develop that ear, to attune that ear. So don't be too hard on yourself if you can't get it right the first time, because none of us do. It takes a long time to get all of that together. As far as the recording booth, that is probably the most important aspect of building your voiceover business or audiobook narration business. Your booth or your recording space is going to be more important than the microphone you choose. It's going to be more important than the DAW you choose. It's going to be the most important thing in this endeavor. So you want to choose a place that is quiet, obviously, and that you could dedicate to recording. Meaning it's not, once you have it set up, nothing's going to be moved, right? It's a place where you can come at any point and submit an audition or, record a voiceover or produce an audiobook. Because even little changes in your room can change the sound of your recording. So you want to, once you have it set up, not touch or move anything. You want your chair to be in the same place, your mic's in the same place, nothing moves, right? Trust me, I found that out the hard way. You also want to make sure that the walls in your space are covered or bolstered. If you're in a closet, keep the clothes in there, keep the blankets, keep the linens in there. That'll help dampen sound and reduce echo, reverb. If not, you could do something that like I have done and just put soft coverings on your walls to reduce the echo and sort of dampen the sound. Again, hiring an audio engineer, they could dive deeper into that and maybe suggest some bass traps and to, where to apply, sound dampening. Also keep in mind that your surfaces beneath you. So if you have hardwood floors, put a rug down, blankets, the ceiling above you, the door behind you, right? Keep in mind all of those hard, smooth surfaces need to be addressed. Sometimes even your desktop. If your desktop is relatively large, you could get like a large gaming mouse, like a keyboard mouse pad, which I have. I have one of those big gaming mouse pads in here that just covers the majority of my desk surface. What else? You could also get external monitors too, speakers, to listen to some of your playback on as well. Although I have some in here, I rarely use them. So I might actually move them out of here and give them to my son because I rarely use them. But the reason behind that, by having headphones and external monitors, is that your voice, your playback, or whatever you're recording is going to sound different depending on what it's listened on, right? So if you think about how our clients use our voiceovers or our audiobook productions, they could be listening in a singular earbud or two earbuds or car speakers or, a sound bar. Maybe they're listening to it on some sort of a Bluetooth device. So it could sound different with different devices, listening devices. So having kind of a couple of different perspectives is the ideology behind having external speakers and headphones. What am I forgetting? Editing, mastering, formatting is something that is like a whole other course class in and of itself, again, because mainly due to variables in the DAW that you have, the plugins that you need, the different processes, how well you know your DAW, so on and so forth. So I think I'm definitely going to make a video about editing basics in Adobe Audition. I think at this point, if there's anything that I haven't covered or any questions you have, just post them and we'll go through the comments and answer those together. I think I might have touched on everything, but if I didn't, just ask. That's what we're here for. We got quite a few comments, so I'm going to stop yapping and go over to the comments and see what you guys actually want to know instead of listening to me yap. Paul was in early this morning. Hey, Paul, you got here